Two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome back here to Pure Finesse with the host, Jacob Murchison, and my co-host, lovely friend, and I'm pretty sure he needs to have a glass of chalky milk beside him at all times,
That's facts.
Malcolm Govius.
Thank you. Thanks
Got,
for the clap, too. I appreciate that.
got to the Oh, I'm just fired up today because Malcolm, it's finally here. Selection Sunday is upon us, and that
Mhm.
means it's time for the Pure Finesse March Madness Extravaganza.
Yes, sir.
So we have this gorgeous looking bracket here made
That's
by the
sexy.
great marketing designers here at Pure Finesse Sports. So Malcolm, the group of 68 has been made up tonight. So we all know who's going to be making it to the dance here in Indianapolis. But we know two teams that are not going to be in this for the first time since 1976. Two mainstay schools who are always in this tournament, the University of Duke and the University of Kentucky, will not be
Yep.
participating in the big dance. So you will not be seeing Coach K and you will not
No.
be seeing Coach Cal for the first time in a very, very long time together.
It's
Which means
2021. It's just last year and this year just been a bunch of sport weirdness going on and sport blunders and just things that you didn't think would ever happen. And 2021 continues with that trend in this happening. Since 1976, both of them haven't made it. Like the first time they haven't made it. That's just insane to me.
exactly that, right? Which means that opens the door for some new schools that are
Yep.
going to be in this tournament. Some schools probably will surprise you or how they are ranked because you think of them more of the football side
Yep.
of the athletics
Yep.
rather than basketball. But Malcolm's going to get into it right now. We're going to start with the West region.
Yeah, we're going to start with the number one overall ranking seed, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They will be playing either Norfolk State or Appalachian State. Some key players in Gonzaga, Corey Crisper and Jalen Suggs, two players for me, when I've watched their games, have been standing out. They're first place in the West Coast, and Jay likes to point out that the West Coast isn't a
This is
really good,
terrible.
isn't good division, but first is first. They're first overall for a reason. The voters thought so. Everyone ranking them thought so. So they finished 26-0, right? They still don't know who they're going to play, but for me, either way, in my opinion, I think Gonzaga has an easy first game. I don't see an upset happening. So that's why for me, I'm going to put Gonzaga first on the bracket here. Got to put them right away, just to make sure that don't forget Gonzaga will be going all the way this year. But yeah,
Yeah, there's not too much arguing on this one with me. If the matchup they're playing is either Norfolk or Appalachian State, number 16 seed. There's no way if fans are about to bow that Gonzaga, but the only perfect team left in the nation, is going to be losing
yeah,
to one of these two teams who will be in the first four at some point this week. I just don't see it happening. A little Canadian content for everybody who doesn't
yeah.
follow college basketball up to date. Andrew Nebhard from Mississauga, Ontario, is playing at the University of Gonzaga. So watch out for him. I'm sure we get a lot of buckets for the Zags this tournament.
Yes, sir. And then the next game we have Oklahoma, who is 15-10. They finished seventh in the Big 12, and they're going to be playing the number ninth overall rank in the West region is Missouri, and they finished 16-9, and they finished seventh in the Southeastern. One guy who really stood out on Oklahoma was Austin Reeves, who led the team in points, rebounds, and assists. And you kind of had that other player in Missouri, and Drew Smith, who led the team in points, assists, and steals. So those are two guys I think that will be the main guys in this. This is going to be a close match, obviously, because it's 8 and 9 seed. For me personally, I think Oklahoma is going to win this one. I've been a fan of Oklahoma, not in I'm not in football, but watching them in basketball, I've been a fan of them. So I think they'll win this one and move on to the round of 32.
I'm flipping the switch. I think it's going to be Missouri winning this one in the
Wow.
SEC, just because I think they have a little bit bigger competition out there in the SEC for how much names we're going to get to very quickly soon. Better record than Oklahoma as well. So you're going to
Yeah,
see a
they
lot of
do.
8-9 teams being flipped, if answer being 8-9, very close. But I think Missouri pulling off, if you want to call it an upset because it's 8-9, I think Missouri's winning.
Damn. Okay. First disagreement of the night. There's going to be many of those, I think. The next one is Creighton. They're the 5th seed in this region, and they finished 20-8, and they finished second in their conference in the Big East. And they'll be playing UCSB, who finished 22-4 in first place in the Big West. But they're only 12th ranked in this one. One player with Creighton who really started out, Marcus, if I'm saying this right, Marcus Zegarowski. He finished with
A little bit
15.
of Polish accent on that one, eh?
Yeah, a little Polish kicking in right now. 15 points a game and 4 assists a game with Creighton. And one guy, another name, it's going to be, I just want to make sure I get this right, is Ja'Cory McLaughlin. He, with I can't even speak right now with these names. UCSB, he finished with 16.2 points per game and 5.2 assists. This is where I think the 12th seed is actually going to upset the 5th seed. I think USC SB is going to win this one. So that's who I'm going to go with in this one.
Big disrespect for the Blue Jays, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Big disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
Creighton's just known to be a basketball school, and I think you got to rep that reputation. Even though the record says otherwise right now with UCSB being 22-4 and finishing first in the Big West Conference, I'm sticking with the Creighton Blue Jays. My man Kazi, shout out Brock Spima, former Creighton alum. Yeah. I am going with the Creighton Blue Jays. Just for the viewers here, you're seeing Malcolm's bracket right now. So if you see me looking away, I'm filling out my own as we go. So both of me and Malcolm's brackets will be posted to Pure Finesse to see. If you're not sure, take a look at the brackets here for a little bit of advice.
Yeah, because we're gonna get into the prizes and stuff later at the end. The next one we have Virginia, who is 4th in this region. They finished 18-6 and first in the Atlantic Coast, and they're going to be playing Ohio, who is 13th, and they're 16-7, and they finished 6th in the MAC East. One guy that really stands out with Virginia is Sam Hauser. I think I'm saying that right too. 16 points and 6.7 boards. For this one, I think for me, Virginia's been a good basketball school ever since I started watching college basketball.
I guess they're the reigning champions, I guess, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Because no March Madness last year. I guess they're the reigning champions.
I would guess. Yeah, I guess you have to call them that. So, with the reigning champions, I'm gonna pick them for the first round.
Yeah, I think so too. They have that pedigree, if you want to call it pedigree, for having the reigning champions without having one last year. They know how to get it done. They've had a couple of hiccups along the way this year. It hasn't been pretty. They did win the ACC conference, which we'll get to in a second, because some of the teams that have won conferences have not won the conferences in decades. Yeah. So Virginia, I think that's going to benefit Virginia long run now that they've lost. Now they don't have to worry about losing again. So I will be going with the Cavaliers in round 1.
The next game we have USC, who has finished 22-7 and second in the Pac-12, versus either Wichita State or Drake, who will be the 11th seed in the West region. Some guys on USC. One guy that stands out on USC is Evan Mobley.
Should be a top 5 pick in the draft.
Yeah, I think so too. He almost averaged 17 points per game and 8.6 boards with USC. For me, I've been a fan of Wichita State, so I really hope they beat Drake and make it. I like Wichita State. They have 2 guys that really stood out for me, with Tyson Etienne, who finished with 17 points per game. And I almost said
Travis. To the Travis Etienne football fortune.
Yeah, I was going to say, I almost messed that up there. And then another guy, Alteric Gilbert, who finished with 4.1 assists and 1.5 steals with Wichita State. They've just been a team for me. Like, I would pick them almost every year. I'd make a couple brackets. I'd pick one Gonzaga winning and one Wichita State winning. But this year, I don't know. Wichita State, they're going to be tough if they win against Drake. It's going to be tough against USC, so I'm going to pick USC to win.
Yeah, I'm sure for us growing up as kids, we always saw Wichita State always being up there in March Madness, being the Final Four one year back in, I want to say 2013. Yeah. Fred VanVleet, Rob Baker, 2 absolute studs in Wichita State. But they fired Greg Marshall, so he's been the mainstay there for a very long time. So the program's trying to take him a hit. But USC, I think, is one of the more underrated teams, being a 6th seed, just because they're at the Pac-12, didn't play very well. And they have a top 5 pick in the draft, Evan Mobley, right? So they're going to be looked at to make some noise, and I think they're going to be winning the first round, like you said. USC, baby.
Yeah. Next game, we have Kansas, another good team who's always pretty good, in my opinion. They finished 20-8 and second in the Big 12, and they're going to be facing Eastern Washington, who finished 16-7 and third in the Big Sky. Kansas has David McCormick. He's getting 13.4 points per game. He's shooting 51% from the field, 80% from free throw, and 100% from 3-point. But I don't know how many 3-pointers he's actually been
I was
taking.
gonna say that might be a little skewed, but
Yeah, because
pretty
he's
cool
one
to
of
tell
those
your grandkids one day.
exactly. He's one of those big forwards, so I don't know how many he's taken. And then they also have okay, Ochai Agbaji, who has 14.2 points per game with Kansas. I just think Kansas is going to win this one. I don't think Eastern Washington really stands a chance. I just think this one's one of the ones I think everyone will be picking Kansas.
Yeah, I think it's a luck too. Just want to say, Bill Self, this is gonna be his 22nd straight March Madness tournament, so
22nd.
he knows how to get it done.
Oh my goodness. And then on to the next one. Then we have Oregon, who finished 20-6 and first in the Pac-12, and they're going to be playing VCU, who finished 19-7 and second the Atlantic 10. A guy in Oregon who's pretty good is Chris Dwart, who finished 16.7 points per game, 2.3 assists, and close to 2 steals and a block per game. And he led his team in all of those categories. So he's one guy, obviously, in Oregon to look out for. And then on the other side in VCU, they have Nashon Highland, who had close to 20 points per game and 2 steals a game, along with Hasten Ward, who had 2.4 blocks and shot 58% from the field. I feel like this one's going to be a closer one than everyone thinks, but I still think Oregon's going to edge out and win this one.
See, I'm gonna flip the script too. I'm going with the VCU. I'm going with VCU. I like it. They still have that Shaka Smart mentality. They still have him. He's not there right now, but he still has that mentality in that team. And I think you can't ignore 19.4 points per game. So I will be going with VCU. Sorry, Ducks fans.
I was debating that too, but I just think Oregon's going to edge it out. And then the last one in the West region, we have Iowa, who finished 21-8 and third in the Big Ten, playing Grand Canyon, who was 17-6 and first in Western Atlantic. Iowa had Luka Garza, who led the team with
absolute stud.
23.7 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, and 1.7 blocks in Iowa. That's just insane to be getting 20 plus averaging in college basketball, because these games aren't super high scoring. For me, I just think with Luka Garza on the team, I think Iowa is going to win this one.
Yeah, I don't think there's any arguments with this one too. Luka Garza should be getting looks at the Wooden Award this year as the best college basketball player. So I think they're poised for a deep run with the Hawkeyes. I like the Hawkeyes.
Yeah. And now on to the East region. We finished with the West region. The first one, we have the Michigan, who finished 20-4, first in the Big Ten, and they're going to be playing either Mount St. Mary's or Texas Southern. Michigan, they have Hunter Dickinson with 14.2 points per game and 7.6 boards and 1.4 blocks to lead the team in all those categories as well. And he's shooting 60% too from the field. I think Michigan, they're 1 seed, right? I just think this is one that's kind of a lock, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Hunter Dickinson play, he's 7'1" freshman. He's an absolute unit. Most of the teams here don't really have anyone that can cover a 7'1" freshman center that moves like Hunter Dickinson. He's going to have his way with a lot of teams. Yeah. And Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern, I think, both of them are going to be one of those teams. So I think it's an absolute lock, like you said, to have the University of Michigan picked. But one guy that they're going to be missing, I think, for the bulk of this tournament is Isaiah Livers, who has a broken foot. So he's going to be missed because he is definitely going to be was the number 2 guy behind Hunter Dickinson. So it's going to be a big loss for the Wolverines for this tournament for sure.
Yeah. And on to the next one. This one is going to be a close one too. We have LSU, who finished 18-9, third in Southeastern versus Saint Bonaventure.
Oh, with the French on a little twist on
French
that, eh?
There, 16-4.
French kiss.
First the Atlantic 10. Yeah, well, come on. I did French immersion all of high school.
Not a big deal.
LSU, they have Cameron Thomas, who finished with 22.8 points per game. They also had Javonte Smith, who finished with 15.7 points, 4 assists, and 1.4 steals. On the other side, on the other team, they have Kyle Lofton, who had 14.2 points per game, 5.5 assists, and 1.5 steals per game, along with another guy who played good defensively as well, is Osunini. He finished with 10.3 points, but 9.3 boards per game and 2.8 blocks per game. For me, I'm going to be picking the French Saint Bonaventure to win this game. I think they'll be edging out winning this one.
That is a upset to say the least. Yeah. I'll be going with the LSU Tigers. They just made the SEC title game for the first time in who knows how long against Alabama. Didn't get it done, but I think they're poised for a good run. I am going, go Tigers, LSU.
They stick to football. The next one we have Colorado finished 22-8, third in the Pac-12, playing Georgetown 13-12 and eighth in the Big East. Not a really outstanding record there to look at. But in
Whoa,
Colorado, they
whoa,
have
whoa, whoa, whoa. You cannot be knocking the Georgetown Hoyas right now. They are the Big East champions, man. Cannot knock Georgetown. Can't do it.
I'm knocking them down. McKinley Wright, the fourth on Colorado, he had 15.5 points,
Doesn't even
5.6.
name key players for the Georgetown Hoyas.
Nope.
Wow,
Because you know
he
what?
is writing them off.
This is me saying Colorado's going to win this one. I don't like, for some reason, I just never liked Georgetown. I'm not going to lie.
You know who the
Just a
coach
school
is of
that
the Georgetown Hoyas?
No, who's the coach?
Patrick Ewing, the New York
Oh,
Knicks
so
legend.
I don't like them even more now. Holy, thanks for pointing that out. Now I
I
really
am
want them to
taking the
lose.
upset to go with the Big East champion, Georgetown Hoyas. Absolutely. And 10 days out of the week, I'm going with Georgetown.
Well, you'll see when Colorado wins. That's like when Colorado winning is more of an upset in my opinion.
Hey, spoiler alert, Georgetown is my Cinderella team. You keep
To
as
win
we
it
keep
all?
going, not to win it all. Let's relax with that talk.
I was gonna
As we keep
say
going through the rounds here today, you'll be seeing Georgetown's name. You'll be hearing Georgetown's name a little bit more. Carry on.
we shouldn't be, but okay. Next one we have Florida State, finished 16-6, second in the Atlantic Coast. They're going to be playing UNC Greensboro 21-8, and first in the Southern. In Florida State, they had Scotty Barnes, who finished with 11 points, 4.2
Another high
assists, and
pick in the
1.3 steals.
NBA draft too, I might add.
Yep. Along with MJ Walker, who scored 13 points a game and shot 44 from the field and 3-point field as well. For me, I think Florida State's going to win this one, even though I think, in my opinion, too, I think UNC Greensboro is going to put up a good fight, but I think Florida State comes out and wins this one.
I think so too, Malcolm. I think there's something else to debate here. UNC
Yeah.
Greensboro, what? Oh, the Southern Conference? I don't think I'm sorry, but I haven't heard of the Southern Conference in my 20 years of being on this earth. So I'm going with
Me
the
neither.
proven team in Florida State to pull off this win.
Yep. Next game, we got BYU, and that was the second team in the West Coast
Oh,
behind
let's
Gonzaga.
relax there. That you think the West Coast Conference is a
record,
deep league. Let's
20-6
relax.
record. But they're going to be playing either Michigan State or UCLA.
I was going to say, can we just hold on? Can you believe that MSU
Yeah.
or UCLA is going to be an 11 seed in March Madness?
I was going to say the same thing. When I was looking at it, I'm like, why? Like how they're fighting for a spot, both those teams. That's just insane to me that both of them are just fighting to get into the tournament. So they have to play against each other. We'll see what happens. But in BYU, they have Alex Barcelo, who has 16 points per game, 4.5 assists, and 1 steal, shooting 52% from the field and 48 from three. So he's one guy to look out for. And then on the other side, in Michigan State, one guy that really looked up for me in Michigan State was Aaron Henry, who's finishing with 15.3 points, 5.7 boards, 3.5 steals, and 3.5 assists and 1.3 steals. My bad. I was gonna say that's a lot of steals. In this one, it's tough for me to pick, because I really like.
Okay.
I think Michigan State might, if they beat UCLA, I think they have a chance of being BYU, but it's a close one because BYU's been a good team all year, second in a great conference. So
let's relax with the great conference talk, please.
This one, I'm gonna have to flip a coin for this one, man. No, I'm gonna go BYU. The conference lives on. The West Coast, baby. BYU.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with BYU as well. I mean, Michigan State did beat Ohio State in the regular season. And other than that, either MSU or UCLA don't have any signature wins to their name.
No.
And BYU's had to play Gonzaga a couple times this year, right? So they're getting pretty good tests there.
Exactly.
You're looking at 3 other losses in a pretty terrible West Coast conference, other than Gonzaga. So I don't think they're making it very far past round 1.
Almost closing off with this East region now. We have Texas, who finished 19-7 and third in the Big 12. They're going to be playing Abilene Christian, who are 23-4 and second in Southland Conference. In Texas, they have Matt Coleman the third, who had 13.3 points and 4 assists, along with 1.2 steals. And they also had another guy, Andrew Jones, who led the team in scoring with 14.6 points a game. For me, I think this one's Texas. I don't think Abilene Christian. They do have a good record. Don't get me wrong. They have a 23-4 record. But I think Texas is going to come out and win this one.
Absolutely. Shaka Smart and the
Come on
Texas
now.
Longhorns, your
Yeah.
Big 12 champions, will be
Yeah.
winning this one
Come on.
handily, I
Exactly.
think.
Second last one here in the East, we have UConn, who finished 15-7 and third in the Big East. They're going to be playing Maryland, who are 16-13 and ninth in the Big Ten. In UConn, they have RJ Cole, who finished with 12.3 points, 4.4 assists, and 1.2 steals. And they also had James Boo Knight, who finished with 19 points a game, which is pretty impressive. And then in Maryland, they had Aaron Wiggins with 14 points, 6 boards, and 2.5 assists, along with 1 steal per game. That's pretty impressive, putting up those numbers, I think. For me, I'm gonna say Maryland comes out and causes this little upset here. So I think Maryland will win it with Aaron Wiggins.
I think otherwise. 16-13 is a pretty terrible record, to tell you the truth, when it comes to college basketball. Even though how stacked the Big Ten was last year or
Any
this
given
year,
day.
I'll be going with the proven basketball school in the UConn Huskies.
Okay, and then the last in the East, we have Alabama. Crimson Tide, 24-6, first in the Southwestern, and they're going to be playing Iona, 12, who finished 12-5 and third in the Metro Atlantic Athletic. In Alabama, they have Herbert Jones, who finished with 11.2 points, 6.5 boards, 3.5 assists, and close to 2 steals per game. And they also had and a block per game. And they have Jaden Shackelford, who finished with 14 points a game, who led the team. I think Alabama's going to win this one. Iona, they only played 17 games this year, so 17 games. So I don't know how confident I am if I were to pick them as an upset team. So I'm going to go with Alabama.
Yeah, this is not football we're talking about here. Alabama
Yeah.
being a good team. This is not
Yeah.
football. So roll tide. Roll tide for right now. They should be poised for a very, very deep March Madness run, to say the least. But now, Malcolm, we're going to the Big South in March Madness here. And number 1 seed, Baylor Bears, going up to take on the Hartford Hawks, who are your America East Conference champions. Big stuff, I know. So the Baylor Bears were finished first in the Big 12 Conference, 22-2 record, but lost to Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament semifinal. The only other loss in their season came to the Kansas Jayhawks. Some big wins against Illinois, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Texas, and West Virginia. You keep naming them off. Baylor's has been number 2 in the country for most of the season. Him and them, Michigan, have been flip-flopping. And their star player is Jared Butler, averaging just over 17 points per game. So do you see any scenario that Baylor's pulling off, or Hartford, excuse me, is going to pull off an upset?
No, I'm going Baylor all the way for this one. I think this is a team too that, for me, is going to make a deep playoff, a deep March Madness run. So I'm going to pick them here to win easily.
Yes, no arguments there. The next matchup
Yeah.
sees the 8th seed North Carolina Tar Heels going up against the 9th seeded Wisconsin Badgers. Carolina finishing with the season of 18-10, finishing 5th in the ACC conference. No really bad losses to talk about except the loss to Marquette, but did beat Florida State. But every other team that was supposed to beat them, they did. They did not have the season I think a lot of UNC fans would imagine, Roy Williams would imagine, at 18-10 and being only an 8th seed in the March Madness tournament. But their key player to watch out for the tournament is Garrison Brooks. He's an absolutely, doesn't have any flashy numbers, but plays the game the right way. And for Wisconsin side of the spectrum, they finished 7th in the Big Ten conference, but the Big Ten is the best conference in college basketball. Whether your West Coast Conference does to like it or not, the Big Ten right now is the best conference in college basketball this season. They lost by 10 points to Penn State, who has a under 500 record, but they did beat Michigan State by 9. And their big boy player, Demetric Trice, guard from Wisconsin, averaging 13.7 points per game and just four assists per game. So Malcolm, who are you going with the 8-9 flip?
I know this one. I'm leaning more towards Wisconsin to win this one. I think they're going to pull off this little upset, you could say, since they're the 9th seed. But I'm going to go with Wisconsin.
I think so as well. I think they're going to pull off the win as well. I think the talent, their record's kind of skewed just because of how many games they played against very, very, very good teams in the Big Ten. So I will be going with the Badgers, not the Brock Badgers, as much people want to say it. No, the Wisconsin Badgers. Number 5, our next game, says the 5th seed Villanova Wildcats going up against the Winthrop Eagles. Yeah, Villanova finished first in the Big East in regular season, but did not finish as the champions. That crown, as you've already mentioned, went to the Georgetown Hoyas. Thank you very much. They've had some bad losses this year. They've lost to Providence and they've lost to Georgetown. That's right, lost to Georgetown, Malcolm. That's
I
right.
hear you. I hear you.
They lost to Butler by 12 and lost to St. John's University by 11. So there's some bad losses on Villanova's side of it. But their
Yeah.
key guy who's been playing very well for them is Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who's averaging 35 minutes a game. And in college basketball, there's 40 minutes. So I mean, he's playing a lot of time and
A lot.
50.7 points per game. And they're gonna be missing their star player, Colin Gillespie, who's been getting 14 points per game. He was up for the Wooden Award. Him, Luca Garza, and Cade Cunningham we'll get to soon. They've all were up to win the best player of the year. So sorry to see him go. But Villanova's got a very, very balanced team with 4 players averaging over 10 or more points per game. And on the other side of it, Winthrop Eagles finished first in the Big South Conference. Is there any way that you see Winthrop pulling off an upset?
Yes, I do.
Well,
And I see it because I'm putting it down. I'm thinking Winthrop is going to beat Villanova. And like you said, they are missing their star player, Colin Gillespie. So I think that's going to play a huge factor. And I think that they can't rely on guys playing 35 minutes a game when it comes to March Madness. You got to really get everyone involved and be a good team overall. And I think Winthrop is going to be a better team come that day.
well, I thought I was going to get you with this one, but I guess not. I guess we're picking the same upset here with the Winthrop.
We are.
Villanova's got some bad losses that I don't like very much. It does not show me very much confidence in Villanova. So I think this will be, you see a lot of 12-5 upsets in March Madness, and I think this will be one of them.
Yeah.
As Winthrop's going to be going to the second round.
That's funny. I did not expect you to say that.
Of course. The next game, the 4th seed, Purdue Boilermakers going up, which probably is the best name in college basketball. The Mean Green of North Texas. Yes. So
Yeah.
Purdue finished 4th in the Big Ten. Some big wins over Ohio State twice, but lost to a 10-17 record, University of Miami.
No.
Go Canes.
Yeah. Yikes.
So their key player is their forward, Travio Williams, who averages 15.6 points per game for Purdue. They finished in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten Conference Championship, losing in overtime to Ohio State. So they gave the Buckeyes a really good run for their money. But the best name in college basketball, the Mean Green of North Texas. They are the Central USA Conference champions, and their key player, guard Javian Hamlet, who averages just under 15 points per game at 14.9. Are we saying back-to-back upsets?
The way you're talking, it sounds like you are, but I'm not thinking so. I'm going to go with Purdue for this one. I know you said they mentioned that loss there to Miami, but I still think they're going to have it in them. They're a good basketball school. I just see them winning this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty persuasive. It might not, but no, I'll be sticking with the Boilermakers for Purdue for this. Can't go against a Big Ten school in the first round, I think. I think that's just a rule of thumb versus how good the competition is there. I've said it multiple times, but I'll be going with the Boilermakers. The next game sees a 17-10 6th seed Texas Tech going up against the 11 seed 20-8 record Utah State. So the Red Raiders of Texas Tech finishing 7th in the Big 12. I think, were they not the runners-up 2 years ago against Virginia?
I'm pretty sure they were, if I can't.
Yeah. So they've been a mainstay so far in the recent years of March Madness. They beat Texas twice, and they've beaten Oklahoma. So they've got a couple of good signature wins. No bad losses to talk about.
That's good.
And the key player for them, guard Mac McClung, money name, 15.7 points per game. And on the other side of the court, the Utah State Aggies finished second in the Mountain West Conference, losing in the final in that conference tournament. A huge loss by 16 to BYU. Go West Coast Conference, says Malcolm. So their key player, center Neemias Queta, hope I'm saying that correctly, 14.8 points per game and 10 rebounds per game. So he's getting a double-double for Utah State.
Crazy.
So who are you going, the 6th seed or 11th seed?
I'm still sticking with Texas Tech. Like you said, no bad losses to talk about. And we think that they've been runner-ups 2 years ago. I think they're just too good not to make it past the first round at least.
Yeah, I think so as well. Texas Tech, I don't think is smelling upset at all. They don't lose to teams that they're supposed to win, unlike the Leafs last tonight, who they lost to Ottawa Senators again. Thank you very much. But I will see going with the Texas Tech Raiders. Yeah, Malcolm loves it. The next game, the 3rd seed, Arkansas, going up against 14-seeded Colgate. So Arkansas Razorbacks at 22-6, finished 2nd in the SEC conference, losing in the semifinals. They've beaten Alabama, the 2 seed, and they've beaten Florida. So they got some pretty good signature wins. And again, Malcolm, no bad losses to talk about.
I'm
And a
saying.
key player for them, guard Moses Moody, money name as well. 17 points per game and 5.8 rebounds per game. So pretty good player to look out for the tournament for them. And on the other side, the Colgate Raiders, the Patriot League champions. No big wins, no big schools that they've played. So, I mean, it's a big wage gap in terms of competition. Am I right?
Yeah, and I think you're gonna agree with me too. That I think Arkansas is gonna win this one. Colgate too. They're 14-1, but they just haven't played as many games either as everyone else. I just don't see an upset from them.
I don't think so as well. I have been very excited. Oh, no, one more game left. The Florida 7-seeded Florida Gators at 14-9 going up against the 10th-seeded Virginia Tech Hokies at 15-6. So Florida finishing 5th in the SEC conference. Very bad loss to a 6-15 South Carolina Gamecocks team. Pretty abysmal loss. And their key player, guard Trey Mann, who averages just over 31 minutes per game, but has 16 points per game and 5.7 rebounds per game. And on the other side, the Virginia Tech Hokies finished 3rd in the ACC. Some bad losses, lost to a 10-12 Pitt team, an 18-point loss to Syracuse, but they did beat Villanova. So Malcolm, where are you seeing this one going?
I'm still going to stick with the Florida Gators. Like you said, the Virginia Tech did beat Villanova, but that's the team that we think is going to get upset in this tournament. I don't think they're as strong as everyone like this year as everyone puts them out to be. So I'm going to stick with Florida for this one.
I think so as well. SEC is a pretty good conference to deal with, and I think I'm go with the better overall team in Florida. This is the game I was looking forward to saying. It's the 2nd ranked, the Ohio State Buckeyes going up against the 15 seed Oral Roberts Golden Eagles at 16-10. Ohio State finished the season 21-9, finishing 5th in the Big Ten Conference. Big wins against Iowa and Michigan. I had a very bad loss to the Minnesota Golden Gophers, losing by 17. And Malcolm, I could go on and on about key players on the Ohio State side of the ball, but you got to name them all. Dwayne Washington Jr., Justice Suing, and the best player in Ohio State, E.J. Liddell. They missed Kyle Young the last couple of games. He has a concussion, but he should be back ready to go for the start of the tournament. And Oral Roberts Golden Eagles, they were your Summit League champions. Malcolm, you just want to slap me in the face and tell me Ohio State's losing in round one?
No, they're not going to. I want so badly. I want to say that, but who are the Earl Robert Gordon Eagles? I don't even know. So I'm going Ohio State.
As well, you should, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ohio State, I think, will surprise some people, as they might be going a little further than some people think they will on my bracket, but we'll save that as we keep going along. We're going to the Midwest next, and the number 1 seeded Illinois at 23-6, going up against 16 seeded Drexel at 12-7. So the Fighting Illini of Illinois, big tongue twister, are your Big Ten Conference champions, beating Ohio State in the process. They've also beaten Michigan and Iowa, but lost to Michigan State and Michigan State during the season as well. So they're key players. There's a couple. Guard Ayo Dosunmu at playing just over 34 minutes per game and averaging 21 points per game. And man, Malcolm, I cannot get enough of watching this today of this huge guy at center, Kofi Coburn, who is an absolute machine and 1 bucket, averaging 17.3 points per game and 9.7 rebounds per game, and a cold-blooded check your pulse shooting guard in Trent Frazier. And on 16 seed Drexel Dragons are your calling off conference champions.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go Illinois State. I'm not just not Illinois State, just Illinois. Like you said, all these names and all these guys that have been playing good basketball for them. I don't see an upset from Drexel whatsoever. So Illinois it is.
Absolutely, Malcolm. There is no question about that. Next game, the 8th seeded Loyola of Chicago. That's right. Remember Loyola of Chicago 2 years ago with Sister Jean, I believe it was?
Yep.
making their return back to the big dance here at March Madness. And going up against the 9th-seeded Georgia Tech Golden Jackets, heir to be Chris Bosh's alma mater. So Loyola of Chicago, the Ramblers, are the Missouri Valley Conference champions. Being in the Missouri Valley, you don't see much competition, and when they did, they faltered, losing to Wisconsin. But their key player at center, Cameron Krutwig, averaging 15 points per game and 6.7 rebounds per game. But on the other side of it, the Georgia Tech Golden Jackets, Malcolm, your ACC champions, beating Florida State to win it, and also beating UNC along the way as well. So their key player, forward Moses Wright, averaging 17.5 points per game and 8 rebounds per game. As Malcolm's checking his stats right now, who does he have coming up the victor in this one?
This one's a tough one for me, honestly, to pick. I want to say Georgia Tech, but I'm going to stick with Loyola and that beautiful, beautiful run they had, or beautiful win they had a few years ago. I feel like the whole world was talking, well, at least all of America was talking about it, whoever watches March Madness, because it was insane. I'm going to stick with them this time. They're playing good basketball, 24-4. I don't see why I shouldn't pick them.
Well, here's the reason why, because you're going up against the ACC champion Georgia Tech Golden Jackets. So I'm going to rock gold jacket and pick Georgia Tech. The next game sees the 5th seed Tennessee Volunteers at 18-8 going up against the Pac-12 champion. Yes, I'm saying Pac-12 champion Oregon State Beavers at 17-12, being a 17-12 record, and they're a conference champion. So Tennessee, 4th in the SEC. They beat Florida twice and beaten Arkansas, but lost to Kentucky and Auburn. Both teams not in March Madness. So they have a key player in guard Jaden Springer, who averages 12.3 points per game. But I mean, I'm still kind of in shock reading Oregon State being the Pac-12 champions.
What the
Exactly. No key wins to talk about, but some losses to USC and the loss to UCLA raises some eyebrows. But their key player, guard Ethan Thompson, averaging 15.6 points per game. So Malcolm, are you riding the hot hand of Oregon State?
No. I'm going Tennessee.
No.
I think the Volunteers will win this one. I don't believe in Beavers. I think Beavers are just nasty animals anyways. I'm going to stick with Tennessee.
Well, Malcolm's speaking from the heart here. But yeah, I'll be going with the Vols over Oregon State. I think that's a pretty good run Oregon State was on to beat the Pac-12 champions. So I think they're still riding their high. And now they can come back down to earth in time to take on the Vols. So I will be going with Tennessee. The next game sees the 4th-seeded Oklahoma State Cowboys at 20-8 going up against the Liberty Flames at 23-5. Malcolm, I know you don't know much about college basketball players, but you sure know this name in Cade Cunningham.
Yes, of course. And we saw him just the other day, just balling out. I know they lost in the finals, but he was still balling out and he had played fantastic. Put everyone on notice that he's going to be I think, number 1 pick in this coming draft. So who do you think is going to win?
Well, you just talked about it, right? Balling out. They went and destroyed the Baylor Bears in the Big 12 tournament, like you said, ultimately losing in the finals. But they've also beat West Virginia. They beat Texas, but a bad loss to TCU, Go Horned Frogs, I might add, and the Kansas Jayhawks. So Cade Cunningham, not much to talk about him, except he's an absolute weapon. 35.5 minutes per game, 19.8 points per game, and 6.5 rebounds per game. But they are going up against the Atlantic Sun Conference champion Liberty Flames, okay? So let's give them some respect.
The Atlantic Sun's conference champions. Never heard of that before in my life. So we'll give them some respect for being champs, but sorry, you're not making it past Cade Cunningham this year.
Yeah, I will second that, saying that Oklahoma State will be getting with ease into the second round. The 6th seed, San Diego State, going up against the 11th seed, Syracuse Orange at 16-9. San Diego State 23-4 are your Mountain West Conference champions. Their key player, forward Matt Mitchell, averaging 15.4 points per game and 5.5 rebounds per game, alongside the Syracuse Orange, who just finished 8th in the ACC, so not the stellar conference record you want. But key forward Alan Griffin and guard, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Jim Boeheim's grandson, Buddy Boeheim, both averaging over 14 points per game. So, Malcolm, do you go with the proven basketball school in Syracuse?
I don't. I did have one friend back in high school who went to Syracuse to look to see if he wanted to play basketball there, and he chose no. I don't know why, but he chose no. Well, actually, there were reasons why, but anyways, I know they're a proven basketball school, but I just think San Diego State, coming off the Mountain West Conference champions, are going to beat them. So that's who I have winning. San Diego.
I believe so as well. I think Kawhi Leonard said it best. Ha 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 ha. For people who think they're going to see that Syracuse is going to pull off the upset. The third
Yeah.
seeded West Virginia Mountaineers at 18-9, coached by one of the most legendary coaches in college basketball history, Bob Huggins, going up against the 14 seed Morehead State Eagles. West Virginia was a Big 12 conference finalist in the tournament, beating Texas Tech and Oklahoma State along the way. But I'm sure you're happy to hear this one. They did lose to Gonzaga by 5, which probably was their biggest test of the season. So key players for them is guard Miles McBride, averaging 15.5 points per game, 4.7 assists per game, and forward Derek Culver, who gets 14.6 points per game and 9.8 rebounds per game. So very close to a double-double. And Morehead State are your Ohio Valley Conference champions. That's how they booked their ticket into the big dance. So do you see an upset in seeing West Virginia get ousted?
I'm debating it, and I don't really think. I think there's a possibility, but I think West Virginia will come out and prove why they should be in the tournament and like why they shouldn't be upset, bro. I don't think they should be upset. I know Morehead State, they're still conference champions, but I still believe in West Virginia in this one.
Yes, I will stick with West Virginia as well. A very good veteran coach, and Bob Huggins will get their team ready to go and juiced up March Madness, no, without a doubt. The 7 seed, yes, I'm saying this in March Madness, the Clemson Tigers at 16-7, going up against the 10 seed Rutgers Scarlet Knights at 16-7. So both with identical records. Clemson 6th in the ACC. They've beat UNC, they've beat Alabama, they've beaten Purdue. So some 3 huge wins for this program, who obviously is not known to be a basketball school. And their key player for them forward, Amir Sims, who averages 13.3 points per game. And Rutgers, 6th in the Big Ten. They beat Michigan State. They've beaten Purdue, but some losses, but expected losses. And their key player for them, Ron Harper, no, not from the dream team, not from the Dynasty Chicago Bulls. 15.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game. Malcolm, identical records. Who do you go with?
I'm gonna go with Clemson. I just think they have better wins overall, like more impressive wins. So that's why I'm gonna go pick them. And because they're my favorite football team school, so how can I not?
Of course, got to put that in there.
Exactly.
Clemson fans since Trevor Lawrence joined the team. Nice.
I've been before that, but you do you. Sean Watson there.
I will be going with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Big Ten schools, I do not think are losing in the first round. So I will be going with the Big Ten in round 1, just because how deep this conference is. I will keep saying it until this episode's over. The last game in round 1 sees the Houston Cougars, the 2nd seed at 24-3, against, I can't believe they're in the tournament, the Cleveland State Vikings, baby, at 19-7 as a 15 seed. They make it in. So Houston is the American Conference champs. They beat Memphis twice, coached by Penny Hardaway. That have lost to Wichita State, and they've lost to Eastern Carolina. So some bad losses, but some key players for them, Quentin Grimes, who's going to be a high pick in the draft, 17.7 points per game and 6.1 rebounds per game. And now Cleveland State punched their ticket to March Madness as they won their conference and the Horizon Conference champion. So they make it for the first time in who knows how long. So who wins this one?
Houston. I think Houston will. I think Houston's going to be one of these teams that has the potential to make a deeper run than everyone expects. This is my little Cinderella story, and then I had to wait all the way till the end to kind of talk about it. But I think that's a team that may make it past a few more teams than everyone expects.
Yeah, since Houston isn't in one of the Power 5 conferences, but they're in the American. So I think they're slept on a bit more than some other teams are, but hey, they're still a 2 seed, so they need some respect on their plate. So they should be making it through round 1 quite easily. So since me and Malcolm have deferred on the first round, let's get Malcolm to hear his second round picks before you hear mine.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put them in at the same time so you guys can see. Obviously, this one's a no-brainer. Gonzaga, don't even have to think about that.
No-brainer.
No brainer. Come on now.
Really.
I don't care who they're playing. Gonzaga's winning it all. My other second round, USCB versus Virginia. I think Virginia will come out and win this one. USC versus Kansas. Ooh, this one. USC or Kansas. I'm gonna go with USC to win and beat Kansas. Next one, you have Oregon or Iowa. I think Oregon's gonna win. I've been a fan of.
Wow. Does not first Big Ten school out Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I think Oregon will stay. And I like Oregon. Oregon's been a school that I really follow too. With who was it? Bol was on Oregon. Was it him?
And
So
Slim Dot and Chris Boucher.
yeah. Oh, and Chris Boucher. So not bad at all. This one, I know my little Bonaventure. They won the first round, but I think
Let's
Michigan
relax.
will be winning against them in the second round. Colorado and Florida State. I'm not sold on Florida State, so I think Colorado is going to beat them.
Wow. So
One
big
that
upset there.
may not expect. Uh, the West Coast BYU
That's
team.
no.
I know it's Texas. It's Texas. Come on, I know. I just want to get Jake going there. And then Alabama and Maryland. I'm going to go with the Crimson Tide. Go with the Crimson Tide over Maryland. And then on the other side, we have Baylor or Wisconsin. I have Baylor winning. Baylor's been a good team that I really follow all the time. And then you have Winthrop, who Jay and I
big
think are going to win.
upset.
But I think it's going to be Purdue over Winthrop. Texas Tech or Arkansas. I like Texas Tech. They're not really.
Wow.
Actually, I'm looking at this more. I think no. I'm sticking with Texas Tech. I'm sticking with my gut
Goes with
feeling.
his gut. No
Go- you go-
analytics for Malcolm.
Go with your gut. There's nothing else. You got to go with your gut. Florida or Ohio State, I think, is going to make.
Hey, you love to hear it from Mr. Gobius. Yes, you do.
Come on now.
Come
I
on
think
now,
they
he says.
have to be respected. Then you have Illinois or Loyola. I say Loyola makes it past.
Whoa! Big upset.
Once
Big
again.
upset.
I think they're just going to win another
Wow.
game everyone expects. And then you got Tennessee or Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham, please. Oklahoma. Yeah, I just don't go against greatness. San Diego State or West Virginia. I'm gonna say that'd be a big upset. I'm gonna say with West Virginia, and not say that because I have a lot of here little upsets. So I need West Virginia and some big teams to keep it up. And then you already heard it just recently. I think Houston's gonna beat more teams than expected, so they're gonna beat Clemson and make it to the second round.
Very solid picks. You know, some of them, Illinois losing to Loyola would be a huge
What's
upset.
March Madness, baby? March Madness.
Okay. But my second round shapes up as Gonzaga going up against Missouri. We'll keep Malcolm happy and get Gonzaga into the Sweet 16. Creighton Blue Jays against the Virginia Cavaliers. I don't see Virginia making it to the next week. I'm going with a proven basketball school. Creighton making it.
Not even gonna make it past the first round.
USC against Kansas. I'm going with my man going to the draft really soon. I'm going with the Trojans in this one. VCU against Iowa. Stick with the Big Ten and Luka Garza. I say they're going to the Sweet 16. Michigan, LSU. I think LSU is going to keep this game very close, but I will be sticking with the Michigan Wolverines. Georgetown against Florida State. You heard it here before. I am going with the Georgetown Hoyas to make it to the big Sweet 16. You heard. Next, BYU against Texas. I like your reasoning that you can't bet against Texas and Shaka Smart. So they're going to be making it through to the Sweet 16. UConn against Alabama. I'll be rolling with the Tide. I'll be picking Bama to go to the Sweet 16. Again, we going back up to the South. Baylor, Wisconsin. No deferral from you on that one. I'll be going with the Baylor Bears.
Okay.
Winthrop, Purdue. I think with the same one here. I'll be sticking with the Purdue Boilermakers to make it to the next week. Texas Tech, Arkansas. I'll be going with Texas Tech as well. I just think that proven basketball school. I know. Florida, Ohio State. Do we need to talk about this? I don't think so. Ohio State will be going to the Sweet 16. Illinois going up against Georgia Tech for me. I'll be
Yeah,
sticking with the Fighting Illinois. Illinois.
it's
One of
I
the
know
weirdest names, man.
it's weird. I thought it was a typo.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
but
it's not. You can look it up for yourself. I don't
yeah,
understand why they named him that name, but Big
yeah.
Ten champions for a reason. Tennessee against Oklahoma State. We respect greatness on pure finesse, so we'll be going with Cade Cunningham in Oklahoma State. San Diego State going up against West Virginia. I'm going with Bob Huggins to take them to the Sweet 16. West
Yeah,
Virginia will be making their way there.
let's go.
And the last one, Rutgers versus Houston. I'll be not differing from you as well. I'll be going with the Houston Wildcats.
Our right side's almost exactly the same, and our left side's just completely
Oh, I know,
different.
complete whack. So we're up to the
It's,
Sweet 16, Malcolm. So who are you taking to the prom?
well, you already know the Zags will be going on to the next round, beating Virginia. They'll beat anyone in their way. They'll go undefeated throughout the whole year.
Let's relax,
Then you got
okay?
USC and Oregon. I'm gonna go. I like Oregon, but I think this is a time where their run ends. So I think USC will be winning. Then you got Michigan and Colorado. Michigan is going to win that one. I like Colorado, but I don't think they'll be able to beat Michigan. And then Texas and Alabama. That's where Texas falls to. Alabama falls to, and Texas will win that.
Wow. The tide stops there, eh?
Tide stops there. Then on to the other side, Baylor or Purdue. I have Purdue actually winning over Baylor. I think they'll make it far. Then, is there even a thing here?
Don't think so.
But okay, Texas Tech or Ohio State. I'm gonna put in Ohio State to win over Texas Tech, and then Oklahoma and Loyola. I have Oklahoma and the greatness. Well, if I can spell state, I can't put the S there, whatever. And then in Houston and West Virginia, I think Houston will come out and win over West Virginia. Let me just see if I can add this here too.
Well, once you do that, we'll get going with my picks for the Sweet 16. I will be kicking it still with the Gonzaga Bulldogs to go to the Elite Eight over Creighton. USC, Iowa. I stick with the Big Ten and Luca Garza to go to the
Yeah,
Elite Eight. I'll be going with the Iowa Hawkeyes. Michigan, Georgetown. Yes, Georgetown is going to be in the Sweet 16. You heard it here first. They will be playing Michigan. I think that's where their Cinderella run ends. I will be going with the Michigan Wolverines. Texas, Alabama. I'm rolling with the Tide to make it to the Elite Eight and face Michigan. So go Tide on that one. Baylor, Purdue. I will be sticking with the Bears to go to the Elite Eight, unlike Malcolm.
man.
Texas Tech, Ohio State. He's typing it in for me. The Ohio
Yeah.
State Buckeyes will be making it through. Illinois versus Oklahoma State. This is where the superb run of Cade Cunningham ends. I will be going with
Really?
the Fighting Illinois to make it to the Elite Eight, which leaves my last one, West Virginia versus Houston. I'll be sticking with the Cougars to make it through and beating West Virginia. Malcolm,
Yay.
we are at now the Elite Eight. Who makes the Final Four?
Who makes the Final Four? We already know my number one.
Yeah,
Go
let's
Bulldogs.
relax.
Come on now. Go Bulldogs. And then you got Michigan and Texas. And that one's going to be a close game. Oh, and I'm going to go with Texas winning over Michigan.
Wow, we're turning back the clock.
Yep. And then over here in Ohio State against Purdue. I'm going to go with Purdue. And that's where
Really?
your literal fairy tale ends there. And then obviously here.
Wait a second. Purdue's making the Final Four?
Yeah, you heard
Oh,
it
no, no,
here.
no, no.
Purdue.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, baby. Purdue's making the Final Four, and they're going to be playing Oklahoma State, who unfortunately will be beating Houston.
Wow. Sticking with Cade Cunningham to make it to the Final Four, eh?
Yes, sir.
So
It's here at the
Gonzaga
Beer
versus
Door.
Iowa in the Elite Eight. We'll keep Malcolm happy and pick the Gonzaga Bulldogs to go to the Final Four.
Wow.
Michigan, Alabama in the Elite Eight. I will be going with the one seed Michigan Wolverines. Hunter Dickinson was going to have a
Can't go
field
back.
day against Alabama. Baylor versus Ohio State. Go Bucks. We're going to the Final Four for the first time since 2011. And then Illinois versus Houston. I'll be going with the Cougars to make the first American Conference team to make the Final Four in quite a long time. So, Malcolm, we are at our Final Four. I think we kind of know who's going to be on the final on the left side of your bracket. But the more interesting question is who is making it on the other side.
I don't think it's going to be Purdue. I think Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham are just how good he's been. It's going to be one of those stories where he's good in college and he's going to be good in the NBA. You don't see a lot of guys who win in college and go up to win in the NBA as well. So I'm going with Cade Cunningham.
Wow. Gonzaga, OK State in the finals.
Sure.
Well, Malcolm, I hope you have some tissues. Because
No.
The West Coast Conference Gonzaga Bulldogs' run as an undefeated team will end. And the Michigan Wolverines will be beating your Gonzaga Bulldogs in the Final Four to make it to the national championship. And you wonder who they might be going up against. And this is not a homer bias pick, but you're going to see the best rivalry in college football, college sports in the national championship. Yes, Ohio State is going to the Natty.
No.
No. So, Malcolm, your final sees the Gonzaga Bulldogs going up against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And, Malcolm, I think there's no surprise to nobody, if they haven't listened to this already, that you have the Gonzaga Bulldogs winning.
Exactly. No doubt about it. And I want to hear your non-homer pick here.
Well, I could never, ever pick the Michigan Wolverines, that team up north, to not beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. The season series is one apiece, so it's going to be one heck of a matchup. But I'm repping them on my chest. The Ohio State Buckeyes will be your 2021 NCAA basketball national champions. Yes, you heard it here first on Pure Finesse.
And so do you want to get into kind of what the prizes are going to be now and what they have to do to kind of enter in this?
Absolutely, Malcolm, because I'm sure everyone's been eagerly waiting because we've been leaving them suspensefully for the last couple of episodes. But there will be a $100 e-transfer prize to the person. Oh, yeah, nice one there, Vanna White. For the person who submits the most correct picks on a bracket. So you will be able to find a lovely PDF copy of the Pure Finesse bracket on purefinessesports.com and through our Instagram page. We'll leave the link in the bio and in the description on the YouTube video. Or if you may other like as well, we will have a Word document available. So you can do what me and Malcolm just did and fill in the brackets. And the way to submit a bracket is to, if you know how to get a reach of me and Malcolm personally, you are able to do that as well. But we would much likely prefer a DM on Pure Finesse on Instagram, being Pure Finesse Sports. We'll leave that in the description as well. Screenshot it.
It has to be a Pure Finesse bracket too.
Okay, you want to get real precise about that one. But just send a screenshot or email to one or me and Malcolm. If you want to text us, you can do that as well. Or send a screenshot to Pure Finesse Sports on Instagram. I think it'll be a lot of entrants, so may the best person win, and $100 will be given out, unlike the what was it? I was going to say, what did we have? Oh, it was like the predict the score. Yeah, there wasn't a winner for that one, but there will be a guaranteed winner for this giveaway. So me and Malcolm will have a little bit of stuff lighter in our pockets, but hey, maybe me and you will win.
I'm going to win probably. So that means get
no bias here. So we will be live after every round of March Madness to break down each game, and as well how you will find out your placement. You're going to have to tune into Pure Finesse here on YouTube or on anywhere you catch your podcasts, because we will be given the live results after each round, who is leading after each round. So stay tuned to hear on Pure Finesse. Oh, and as well, you have until the first game of March Madness on Friday to submit your brackets.
The whole week.
So you have all week. Picking up, get ready. It's going to be awesome. So until then, it's Jacob.
And Cole.